Royal Navy is here. Challenge 7 other warship nations. Wreak havoc with British cruisers.
Hello and welcome once again everyone. Today I'm going to cover the Tier 7 British premium cruiser, HMS Belfast. Let's quickly go through what I believe is a very strong ship and captain build. Starting off with all premium consumables, HMS Belfast is a premium ship earning you more credits than normal, so don't hold back. These extra charges of smoke, hydroacoustic search and radar can be extremely useful not only in staying alive but remaining effective late on in games. Onto the upgrades: main armaments mod 1, damage control mod 1, aiming systems mod 1, steering gears 2, and finally the concealment system. Moving on to the captain skills, I would advise going for preventive maintenance, expert marksman, adrenaline rush, superintendent, demolition expert, IFHE, and concealment expert. So let's take a look at what this build means to the Belfast's final ship stats. Starting with survivability, we get 35,700 hit points. Our main artillery consists of 4 triple 152mm turrets, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, with a firing range of 15.4 kilometers. Belfast's AA defense rating of 55 is quite strong, despite having no short-range AA values. Manoeuvrability comes in at a top speed of 32.5 knots, a turning circle of 680 meters, with a rudder shift time of 7.7 seconds. Finally, Belfast's concealment rating of 76 means its detectability range from sea of 8.9 kilometers and 5.8 kilometers from air. I'm uploading videos regularly, so make sure to click the subscribe and bell icons below for notifications to keep up to date with all the latest videos. HMS Belfast was commissioned in early August 1939, shortly before the outbreak of the Second World War, and was initially part of the British naval blockade against Germany. In November 1939, Belfast struck a German mine, resulting in major damage, requiring extensive repairs for the next 2 years. Belfast returned to action in November 1942 with improved firepower, radar equipment and armour, and went on to see action escorting the Arctic convoys to the Soviet Union during 1943, and in December of the same year played an important role in the Battle of North Cape, assisting in the destruction of the German warship Scharnhorst. In June 1944, Belfast took part in Operation Overlord, supporting the Normandy landings, before being redeployed the following year to the Far East to join the British Pacific Fleet, arriving shortly before the end of the Second World War. HMS Belfast is still today now permanently moored as a museum ship open to the public on the River Thames in London, and is operated by the Imperial War Museum. HMS Belfast was considered by Wargaming to be overly strong and has been removed from the premium store, but it's still possible, if very lucky, to get the HMS Belfast drop in a super container. HMS Belfast is quite unique in the game when it comes to consumables, having hydroacoustic search, radar and smokescreen. It's this trifecta of consumables that make her such a fearsome destroyer hunter. This role can be further enhanced by her ability to mount upgrades in slot 5, allowing her to further boost her concealment, allowing her to approach undetected even closer to destroyers. Used well, she can serve as a measure of area control over capture zones and critical areas, allowing you to push enemy destroyers back and punishing those that choose to wander too close, because they will rarely live long enough to regret their mistake. Here is a prime example of how you can turn a destroyer smokescreen against him, while using radar to keep him spotted I can push aggressively and hopefully finish off the destroyer before the radar timer runs out. The T-61 proves to be a slippery customer and is attempting to retreat behind his smokescreen. I remain detected, so something else still has vision on me. I knocked out the T-61's engine, so he will be unable to pull distance. My own smokescreen is ready in case of emergency, so I'm going to push my advantage here. Enemy Fiji appears and opens fire virtually the same moment as I finish off the T-61, so I'm just going to smoke up here. I have no wish to take on the Fiji in a close quarters fight in open water. In my eagerness to get my rear guns on target, I begin my turn too soon and my greed is immediately punished. Belfast is relatively weakly armoured and will greatly prefer utilising island cover wherever possible while making prudent use of our smokescreens. The enemy Fiji, in literally a matter of seconds, has cut my hit points in half, illustrating quite well how weak the Belfast's armour really is. On the plus side, however, and I feel it's quite important to stress this, despite personally making the big mistake of not angling correctly, the Belfast is still more than capable of being highly effective for the remainder of the battle. This early misplay on my part will simply reduce the margin for error in the engagements to come. The enemy Fiji is retreating, and despite numerous volleys, the damage return has been quite low, simply due to the high floaty arcs of the Belfast's main guns. Hitting manoeuvrable targets at long range is not one of the Belfast's strong points, and should be avoided, unless from island or in this case smoke cover. For those of you familiar with the playstyle of destroyers, playing the Belfast in the ambush predator role will feel quite natural, and not to continuously go all guns blazing, but picking your moments to attack when you hold a strategic advantage. Taking a quick look now at the scores and the state of the teams, I can see we have already lost 3 from our total of 4 destroyers. We're 2 ships down and we're behind on points. The enemy Fiji, instead of fleeing to rejoin his team to the west, has taken up a rather curious position, attempting to hide behind the island up ahead, and will have to be removed from this flank before I can make any attempt to rejoin our main group of battleships, which seem to be pushing in towards the central B capture point. Now that the Fiji has dropped detection, I expect him to make a move. Just going to turn on hydro here in case he is torping preemptively. I've got a friendly York on my right flank. My smoke screen is now reloaded. I'm just going to push forward. Activate radar. He seems to be reversing. I've got armor piercing loaded. Can push in on his position. I'm going to angle in quickly, prevent any return damage. Get a nice quadruple citadel hit. Managed to bounce most of the shells, so he's pushing forward. And we're able to take him out very quickly. He did torp, so we're just going to quickly turn away. And it's the combination of consumables there that allowed us to push in on a very dangerous ship at close quarters and take him out very quickly. The danger on my flank has now been removed, so I can rejoin the main bulk of our force to gain control of the B capture point. The Fiji captain seems a bit puzzled by the fact he couldn't spot my Belfast as I approached him, but I was never inside his 4-kilometre hydro range. He's simply mistaken in thinking he had a ship spotting range of 5 kilometres. We all make mistakes in the heat of battle. A quick tip, whenever you are in doubt, is to simply hold your mouse over your consumables and the full stats are shown there. It appears now our only remaining destroyer, the Gallant, is going to cap B, and holding that capture point will be key to winning this fight. Cap control is key to influencing how the majority of battles will play out. It forces the enemy team to advance, to contest that point, or killing our ships at a much faster rate than losing them themselves, simply to keep pace with the points total. We know now how strong the Belfast can be in an offensive stance in particular situations. But when it comes to locking down and holding a position in a defensive posture, that's where the Belfast really can excel. It's important to try and comprehend the pattern and flow of games, and predict the movements of enemy teams, which will largely be dictated by cap control. Sure, this is not something you pick up overnight, and comes with game experience, but try and think ahead. Examine the minimap, and ask yourself the simple question: where can I put myself to halt and hurt the enemy's movements? Learning to position yourself in these key strategic spots to allow you to bring the Belfast's great firepower to bear, using your smokescreen's concealment, where it's more than capable to be able to counter and hold off multiple targets at once. Attempting to push into an area controlled by a concealed Belfast that has backup is a daunting experience. Sometimes the mere presence of a Belfast is enough to deter the faint-hearted, but when that attack eventually comes, you have the tools on hand ready to deal with it. The Furutaka is my primary, as he seems to be rushing forward in an attempt to torpedo my friendly New York, but is well angled and my high explosive won't stop him in time. The enemy carrier forced me to smoke up a little sooner than I wished. As soon as I was detected, I could see the enemy Scharnhorst beginning to turn in the distance. The New York did manage to finish off the Furutaka with his secondaries, but not before taking torpedo hits, leaving him critically low, facing the prospect of almost a full health Scharnhorst circling on the opposite side of that island. I'm just going to start relocating in the smoke so I can angle away, activate hydro. I suspect the Jarvis is out of torp range, but better to be safe than sorry, as he's undetected. It's time now to put full focus on this enemy Scharnhorst. He's coming out to finish off our New York. I'm all the while keeping my anti-aircraft on these planes, trying to help my friendly York. I'm going to focus on the enemy Scharnhorst superstructure, attempting to get fires. He has finished off our New York. Gallant is torping the Scharnhorst as well, but he has turned in sharply. He is quite manoeuvrable. I quickly spot the Jarvis, or the enemy Gallant, in the cap, so I'm going to try and reset him. My smokescreen is running low, so I need to get moving again. It looks like the enemy is going to take a torpedo from the York, which has also gone down to the Scharnhorst's secondaries. He's now been bombed by the carrier as well. He would have repaired that flooding. I just need to quickly angle away. His guns are turning on me. Yeah, most definitely his front guns are on me. Continue to kite away and angle here to take a significant hit, but this Scharnhorst is quite low. We do manage to get a fire on him. That should finish him off, as his damage control is on cooldown. I'm just going to keep angled. He has turned his guns away, allowing me to complete my turn around this island, and our friendly Warspite finishes him off and goes down to the Scharnhorst at the same time, so they traded. The game is very finely balanced now. We are a ship down and the enemy Gallant has just captured the B point. He is, however, in a very exposed position and plane spotted by my carrier's dive bombers. Our Furious makes a very good play here by deploying his fighters to keep the Gallant spotted. I can push in here and finish him off. I have the Gallant comfortably inside my radar range, so he is effectively screwed here, and even any attempt to smoke and flee will be in vain. Gallant is on fire, which blooms his detection, so it's just a matter of finishing him off, and he goes down. Enemy Dallas is charging in, and he is low health. I feel comfortable. I can take him here with my front guns. I managed to set him on fire, although I am in danger of being in a crossfire here. The enemy New York has fired. I just managed to dodge his shells. I'm I'm going to quickly slow down and smoke up and just finish off this enemy Dallas. We get the Confederate achievement. Dallas repaired that fire. I am angled against the shells and the enemy Dallas goes down. I just need to start moving here in the smoke screen and start reversing away. I lose vision on the enemy New York. He has fired right at my previous position. Those were very accurate shells. Managed to set a fire on the enemy New York. I'm just going to back away around the island to prevent him blind firing me again, because he was quite accurate the first time. I can see the enemy cruiser there in the distance. Our gallant is attempting to capture the B point. I'm just assessing my options here. I need to maneuver into position so I can fall back behind this island. Managed to get a second fire on the battleship. We have effectively turned the tide in this battle, and my priority now is to stay alive, to not gift the enemy team any easy points and keep them under the points pressure they're currently under. I'm going to switch my focus to the enemy Algeria. And French cruisers pose quite a problem for the Belfast. They're quite maneuverable, they're quite fast, and landing shells efficiently at long range can prove quite difficult with these high floating arcs. But I'm just going to maximize the use of my smoke screen here till virtually the last second and use this island to break line of sight. But till then I can keep firing. We get the high caliber award, briefly get detected. I'm just slipping behind the island to deny him any line of sight. Enemy New York is still pushing in, so I'm just going to continue to fall back here using the island and my detection range. I might be able to get a volley off at this New York as he comes around that island. I will be just outside my detection range. Yeah, it was ever so briefly detected there. Just going to fall back. We're in a pretty strong position now. The enemy Algeria is pushing hard in on the B cap, trying to kill our gallant. I have a nice position now on the Algeria's broadside, and our gallant, he takes out the New Mexico, and the New Mexico of course, and not the New York as I was claiming it to be. I can just smoke up here and put some fire on this enemy Algeria. I managed to reset the cap. I could actually be using armor piercing, but I'll continue to shell him with high explosive for the moment. He's sailing there full broadside. I managed to reset him once again. He is on fire. I'm just going to have to start moving forward now because I'm losing firing angles. Reset him once again, and we should be able to take him out here. No, not quite. Reset once again. He's very low now. See if we can get that cracking. That's a nice way to end the match. Very closely fought game. 130,000 damage. Confederate, high caliber, Kraken award, and over 1,000 XP more than the second place. Very nice game. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, make sure to hit that like button below and subscribe. Feel free to check out some of my most recent videos, and until the next time, keep sailing it like you stole it.